And secondly, invite you to, trust that you've been having uh, a great day nonetheless. And to invite you to listen as we share with you some of the highlights from the BBC as they talk about her life. Um, Everyone may not be aware of her beginning going into. Well, one of the things I heard in one of the comments is she was not born for this, but she became the queen. And I thought that kind of prophetic for some persons that maybe you feel as if you were not born in greatness or born um, with persons around you thinking that you would be great. But in this case, she became the queen. And for so long, what, 70 years? The longest reigning monarch. She became that in, they said it 2015. And that's just wow to have such a legacy to be able to look back and say, I did this and I did this, even though 96 years ago, it nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming that you would be where you are today. And so live your best life. Be the best that you can be and do the best that you can do wherever you are placed. So I'm going to join the BBC briefly and here's some more updates. Okay, here's some more updates as they talk about the Queen. This is Love 101. Thank you so much to those who are joining on Facebook and YouTube. What are your thoughts on the Queen, the official head of Jamaica at this time? What are your thoughts? Prince Charles is next in line, and we don't say Prince, no, we say King. I heard them referring to him as King Charles already. Let's hear a little bit as the BBC continues their
provided us with
presentation.
the stability and the strength that we needed. She was the very spirit of Great Britain, and that spirit will endure. She has been our longest ever reigning monarch. It's an extraordinary achievement to have presided with such dignity and grace for 70 years. Her life of service stretched beyond most of our living memories. In return, she was loved and admired by the people in the United Kingdom and all around the world. She has been a personal inspiration to me and to many Britons. Her devotion to duty is an example to us all. Earlier this week, at 96, she remained determined to carry out her duties as she appointed me as her 15th Prime Minister. Throughout her life, she's visited more than 100 countries, and she has touched the lives of millions around the world. In the difficult days ahead, we will come together with our friends across the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth, and the world to celebrate her extraordinary lifetime of service. It is a day of great loss, but Queen Elizabeth II leaves a great legacy. Today, the crown passes, as it has done for more than 1,000 years, to our new monarch, our new head of state, His Majesty, King Charles III. With the King's family, we mourn the loss of his mother. And as we mourn, we must come together as a people to support him, to help him bear the awesome responsibility that he now carries for us all. We offer him our loyalty and devotion, just as his mother devoted so much to so many for so long. And with the passing of the second Elizabethan age, we usher in a new era in the magnificent history of our great country, exactly as Her Majesty would have wished, by saying the words, "God save the King."
Well, there's trust there. Could she have imagined she would be making that statement days after kissing hands with the Queen at Balmoral and becoming Prime Minister? She said, "We're all
That's the
devastated."
new Prime Minister of England, of the new British Prime Minister Liz Truss, giving her well wishes to the new King, His Majesty King Charles. We're gonna have to get used to saying that. And so we heard from that. So this week we have a new Prime Minister, and now through the death of Her Majesty the Queen, we have a new head of the royal family, His Majesty King Charles. Wow, I'm gonna have to really get used to saying that. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings on what you are hearing now? The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. Um, the royal family announced, and of course they were talking about the on the line on the way into Balmoral, the persons who live in that area saw the Queen as their neighbor. They were used to her, leaving in her vehicle and waving, and if it was just a wave, I know what that is like. That you see somebody and you feel like you know them. Um, yes, His Majesty King Charles III. Um, you feel like you know them. It's like you listeners, you feel like you know us. I'm like you in other senses too. I see someone and I feel like I know them because I'm following them on social, but you don't really know them. I don't really know all some some of the person. Actually I do, but anyways, a statement from the royal family said the king and the queen consort would remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. Members of the royal family rushed to her bedside at Balmoral Castle after doctors became concerned for her health. Did anyone, I'm not sure, Nigel, can you say if all the family, Prince Harry and Prince William, if all of them were able to get to the bedside? Those will be the grandchildren. I'm not sure if all of them were able to get there. The flags in Downing Street were lowered at half mast at 6:36 p.m. And remember, they are ahead of 5 hours ahead. A period of national mourning is beginning. Tributes flood in from across the globe, hailing the Queen's commitment to serving her country and the Commonwealth. All the way, yes, it seems that all of them did make it to be there at the bedside. Some persons were hinting that she probably did pass before, but it was more quote unquote tidy to announce it after. People don't get caught up in that. Just the fact is, she has passed. Zelensky, um, Ukraine's president, wrote on Twitter, "It was with the deep sadness that we learned of the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. On behalf of the Ukrainian people, we express our sincere condolences." Um, I, Tony Blair, a former Labour Prime Minister, I'm sure there's one here with our Prime Minister. Someone could send me that. We have lost not just our monarch, but the matriarch of our nation, the figure who more than any other brought our country together, kept us in touch with our better nature, personified everything which makes us proud to be British. That's from former Labour Prime Minister Tony Blair. Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey said, "We are all deeply mourning," and condolences coming in left, right, and center from so many persons. The picture of the new Prime Minister shaking hands with the Queen just this week. They noted that she recently, or she had been walking with a stick, and they were saying they're not used to this. Well, there she is in the photo just this week. We heard of the new Prime Minister, the 15th Prime Minister in her reign, Liz Truss, there. Yeah. The Queen's coffin will lie in state to let people pay respects. The Queen's coffin will lie in state This is usually reserved for sovereigns, current or past queen, okay, consorts, and sometimes former prime ministers. During the formal occasion, the closed coffin is placed on view in the vast medieval Westminster Hall in the Palace of Westminster. And I can say years ago, thank God I got the chance to go to Westminster. I never go inside, but at least I went there. And you feel kind of a part of what's going when you have that kind of experience. The Queen's death in Scotland means there could possibly be a second lying in state, most likely at the cathedral in Edinburgh, which would allow the public to honor the monarch. In the days leading up to the funeral, members of the public will file slowly past to pay their respects in somber silence. For a royal lying in state, the coffin is draped in royal flag, usually a personal standard, and rests on a catafalque, a raised platform covered with a purple cloth flanked by a military guard around the clock. And Auntie Colleen would know, be quite familiar with all the terms here. A statement was pinned up at the palace, an official statement confirming the Queen's death, and that was pinned up at the gate at Buckingham Palace. So if you missed it and you're just logging on, the Queen Elizabeth II, Her Majesty, died peacefully this afternoon, and we are now referring to who we knew and called Prince Charles as His Majesty, King Charles III. We are still in alive, but of course, you do understand, with Jamaica being technically still a British state, it is a wise thing to do to pause to recognize this moment in history. Born on April 21, 1926, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her father, Albert, Duke of York, was the second son of King George V and was the responsible elder sister of Princess Margaret Rose, was born in 1930. Her childhood was happy and secure with fond parents and the opportunities to indulge in her love of dogs and horses, which probably carried on throughout her tenure. Let's rejoin the BBC and see what they're.
I mean, I was personally comfortable and
memory lane, as they will have it. I want to say thank you to those who have joined on YouTube and Facebook. I want to thank you for joining and invite you to stay with us as we continue inside a live, a different kind of a live today. For the starting segment, we will continue with our prayer blast and the other features coming up. Coming up later on, pieces of the past, and we may just include a little bit of what was happening with the Queen, her reign as Queen. Yes, thank you. And of course, the other features that we have. I'm sure Auntie Colleen will have something special for you. There's a special giveaway as well later on in the Small People Show, but I'm sure she will also bring her side of things, her view on things later on. Let's rejoin the BBC. Thank you for joining us on Facebook and YouTube.